Yes, yes, yes. It is the Cast Worthy Podcast, and we are back at you. I am Big Steve, aka Last of a Dying Breed, on the Twitter machine. Joined today by the VP and EJ, the Sophisticated Savage, once again. And we're into March already, man. March 6th, Sunday morning. Just seems like time isn't slowing down, man. It's going by fast as shit. How you fellas doing?
VP, how you doing?
I'm hanging in there, man. Shout out to my brother. It was his birthday on Friday. Um, yeah, I'm hanging in there.
Cliff?
Shout
What
out to
about
the
you?
good man, the good offensive lineman forever.
Yeah, happy birthday, Cliff.
Yeah,
What
and
about you, EJ?
oh,
Yep,
real quick,
no,
I was
no
just gonna say my
complaints,
son
man.
got voted. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go, you got voted what? We
Oh
always love to
no,
hear
he
TJ news.
Class president?
n- nah, he got
Oh,
voted on the all metro team for his high school bowling.
okay.
It's kind of
Oh, I
like
What's
mean,
the
that?
all star team,
What's
kind of.
that?
it's like the
Okay.
all city team.
Yeah. So yeah,
When do
they
they
called it.
when do they compete?
No, they don't actually compete, and they don't have like a county versus county thing or nothing like that. But
Gotcha.
they vote on like a team, and then like who's the five starters and who's the alternate. So he was voted as a starter for the all metro team.
Okay. So like the all defensive or first team defense or some shit.
Yeah, basically.
First team all city.
Yeah, like
Okay.
back home in Miami, at least for football, I think they do it for basketball too, but I'm not 100% sure. They actually do that and have like an actual all star game. So they do like a Dade
That's what I was
versus
thinking.
Broward County, and but that's for like football and basketball. I
Basketball. I think
don't
baseball
know about
probably too.
bowling. I mean, yeah, they might. I wouldn't doubt it.
Hmm.
Hmm. I need to figure out how I get into these high school sporting like be a chairman or some shit because I would absolutely do it. I would do it just like the All-Star game. Pick the person with the top votes and second top votes or the highest average and second highest average and let them just pick out of the people that made the team and then make a little fucking quick fun competition. You know what I'm saying? And maybe the school that wins gets new balls, pause, for the team. EJ, close your eyes. What you been up to, EJ?
Firstly, I'm traumatized.
Oh, I told you once you go white, you never be right.
I
Oh,
missed
that's
that
not
vote.
it. Okay.
I'm
So
feeling good, man.
so why are you traumatized?
Oh, you said all get new balls. Like, whoa, sheesh, flagrant. Nah, man, all is well, man. I can't complain, man. Can't complain this week. Went out on a good date last night, pretty successful. And
Okay.
crazy part about it, went out on a date, picked this random spot that I never really been to, but I've been to it, but I never been to it. And I walk into the joint and I see somebody that looks like somebody I just went out with. I was like, nah, can't be her. Her hairstyle is different. She didn't hit me up. Nah, can't be her. Next thing you know, it is her.
Of
And then
course it is.
the new date walks in, and I'm just looking crazy the whole time because I'm getting stared at. In the corner of someone's eye. I'm like, yo, this shit is crazy, movie like stuff. But other than that, though, it
You should have
was a good time.
invited. You
Yeah,
feeling any
should have hit.
lighter this morning? Maybe a quart or so? Half a pint lighter? Drop some of that liquid weight.
No comment.
Oh man.
Okay. Well, I hope you had a great evening. I hope that you find someone to spend some time with. I mean, now is probably not the best timing. We're about to get into summer. What are we? March. You got about 3 months of, well, that sounds about right for you. You're a scumbag. You'll cuff up for 3 months, and then June 1st, you'll find a reason to start a fight, and then summer season. Then we see you again in September.
Oh man.
God damn it.
Almost like basketball. Like your seasons run like the NBA.
God damn it. God damn it.
Oh
Listen, man.
man.
How you doing, Steve-O?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. I was telling VP and before we started in pre-production that I'm feeling how the other half lives in the sense of being a day walker because I've been on nights for a few years, and so last few weeks I've been getting up 6:30 each day and shit, and it's kind of rolling into my weekend. So before we even started this morning, I've done probably more today than I would normally do on a regular whole Saturday before 1-2 o'clock. So I'm I'm a day walker, and I'm finding out that when you're a day walker, you don't have any control of when you fall asleep. So I sit down and put Ashley in bed, and like 9:30, I'm like, all right, let me watch this next episode. About 9:41, I'm gone. It's a wrap.
Straight calling, counting sheep.
Or maybe I'm just old. Maybe I'm just old, man.
It's probably
But
a combination.
A little bit of both. But it's all right, man. Other than that, it's good. COVID is still a thing. I wish people would realize that. It doesn't seem like it even existed here in Florida. Like, dog, I'm hard pressed to see somebody with a mask on anymore, especially now with these, these new thoughts that are out there and these new guidelines and stuff like that kind of being really light. But people need to still realize that you can still get sick, dog. For sure.
Especially if you're unvaccinated.
If you're unvaccinated. You could get sick no matter what, but you can get severely sick, right? If you're unvaccinated.
Yeah.
Right. I guess maybe for me, and a quick knock there. I've been pretty successful in dodging it, this long. So I don't want to be at the tail end while everybody, everyone that had it now is like, oh, it's my turn. Fuck that. I'm trying to stay without that shit, dog.
Yeah, you're like those. I remember when I was still in the Marines, and even after I got out, like I remember hearing people talk about it. They were saying like how Iraq had been going on for this many years, Afghanistan for this many years, and you had people who were in the military who had never deployed to either. Very small percentage or whatever, you know what I mean? But you like those motherfuckers.
Yeah, that's kind of that's how I feel, dog. Like every time I sneeze or cough or something, I'll be like, damn it, this is it. Yeah, but it's usually just because I didn't take my fucking allergy medicine. Yeah. Pollen count is crazy right now.
The allergy shit is incredible, yo.
That's gonna make it worse.
Bad. Yeah.
Because motherfuckers gonna start pulling the masks off and start sneezing and doing shit, touching the noses because of the fucking allergies, and so
which is amazing.
The season.
Like, even hearing you say that is amazing. Like they're gonna pull the mask off to sneeze, and it's like that's just like the sole purpose of the mask.
Right. It is weird though. Like I've learned that, so I keep an extra one in my back pocket because it is weird. Like once you sneeze into it, the other day I did those that.
Germs in there.
Right. Well, you could keep them there, but it just feels weird on your face, especially somebody like I got a beard, so it's the flavor saver, but not for that kind of flavor. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. You I don't have a problem. Nasally juice in your mask, smelling like sneeze all crazy.
Like if you do that shit when you're outside, like that's cool. But like once you've entered like an establishment or something, like you need to be coughing and sneezing in your mask.
Yeah, no doubt.
If you're wearing one, because we know how they do in Florida.
Right. I have to suspect that it can't be much better in many other places. People are kind of ready to get back outside, man. I get it. You gotta start living, man. It's been 2 years of this shit, 2+ years of this shit. People want to get outside and live, but we just, you still got to be cautious. Like that's all. Just be safe, man.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I'll be in Tennessee next week. We leave next Saturday, so
that should be fun.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. This stupid fucking gas prices, though. When I planned it, gas prices were like $2.17. I just saw this morning we were $3.99 over here.
Mm-hmm. It's at four and change up here.
Outrageous, dog.
Some people want it higher, man.
I'm taking a rental, so I might pour some water in that bitch. When I gotta return it, like, yo, it's on full, dog. It might be full of water, but it's full.
Yeah. Anytime I do that, I always ask them about the like what the price is for their gas, so I can like see if I want to prepay for the gas or not.
Yeah.
So because you never know.
Yeah. The only thing I hate about that, or I don't like about that, is when you pay for a full tank, and they keep the charge of the full tank even if you return it with half a tank, and they only got to put a half in.
Right.
That's the only downside to it. But
no, you're absolutely right. And I've done that one time where I prepaid for the gas, and then I stopped to get gas and was like, oh shit. But by that point I had already went up. I think I was at like 3/4 of a tank. And so I knew it wasn't gonna be empty by the time I got back to the rental car place or whatever. So like to make it feel right to me,
Here we go.
I hit the little button and like ran out all of the windshield wiper fluid.
I'm petty, nigga. I would have fucking siphoned that shit out.
But then when I got back, because it was like love bug season, right? When I got back, they'd be like, "How was your rental?" And I was like, "Oh, it was good for the most part." I was like, "But it ran out of windshield fluid, and with all these love bugs, it was hard. I had to keep stopping to clean the window, or whatever." And the dude was like, "Oh man, I apologize about that. We should have made sure that was topped off before you got the car." And then so they took like $20 off my rental, and I was like, "Bet."
Yeah.
And I wasn't even looking for that. I was just trying to be petty because I had filled up the tank,
Yeah, I'm petty, dog. I would have probably left that shit on the side of the road with a brick on the fucking gas in park, just burn that shit through. You're not getting my money twice, yo. Fuck all that. So yeah, man. Let's get to bingeables early, man. Let's switch up our shit a little bit. What y'all been watching, man? I'll start.
Okay. What y'all been watching? I'll start.
Because I know you guys weren't ready, so I'm prepping your brains a little bit.
I know what I've been watching.
Okay, what you been watching?
Yeah, we know what you've been watching.
I've been watching.
Dirty man.
Usually, when you sound happy, we could tell.
Dirty man.
I've watching my normal stuff. Righteous Gemstones. They had the season finale last week. Billions still going on. The new season of Upload is getting ready to start. I don't know if you saw when I put that in the chat. The Amazon show.
Oh, yeah, the 11th.
And then this show that me and my wife watched together on Stars is getting ready to start. This thing has started either this weekend or next weekend, so I'm gonna be watching that. And then I also finished off Euphoria. It's but finished off both. There's only 2 seasons, so the current season was on like just now. So I binged the full first season, binged the second season. It's only 8 episodes each season, and they're an hour, and so it's a very easy watch. That shit is crazy, man. One thing I can say about that show that I really find myself loving episode to episode is the music that they choose for the episodes. Whoever is running the music over there is killing that shit, like every episode I'm like more impressed by the music selections, like some shit I'm like, man, I gotta get my tablet, but this shit on my playlist, so
is it old school shit?
It's old school shit, stuff that I've never heard before, and it's like they like, every episode with the music, they're choosing music that kind of is going with the scene, you know what I mean? But some of it is shit that is like, so like there's this scene where Rue, which is Zendaya's character, is going to confront this dude Nate, who's kind of like the villain, I guess you can say, of the show, and like she's just on one, and so she's walking up to him, and you start hearing the Hit 'Em Up music playing in the back, because they're like
really?
They're like at a school dance, or they're like at a school dance or some shit like that. And so like she's coming out the door and you're hearing like, first off, fuck you, bitch. And and
I'm surprised that you even knew what that was. Did you have to Google it?
Come on, man.
You Shazammed it. Mario's like, Shazam. This sounds familiar.
So yeah, but that shit's been it's been really good, man. One thing about the show that I think EJ probably won't like, I know he's been watching it, but I thought the shit was funny as hell. Not just that, but they at the end of the season finale of season 2, is it's like a two-parter. So like the season finale basically takes place over episode 7 and episode 8. Okay. And it's one of the kids who's putting on this high school play. So it's like super, super high school, but you know, like they do a good job of it or whatever. But there's like some really, really funny scenes like throughout that play that you see. But overall, man, it's a good show. I can see why like it has so much hype and buzz.
But you about to watch something on Stars, you said?
Yeah.
So watch Hightown like I told you to.
Yeah, I am. I got it on the list.
You have no excuse to watch Hightown.
I got it on the list now that I'm gonna have Stars. I haven't got Stars yet. I'm waiting because they had a deal where they were offering Stars for like 3 months for 99 cents. And I was like, I should get this shit because I know that other show I watched is coming back soon, and I delayed, and now it's gone. So I'm trying to wait to see if they bring it back.
This nigga's holding the podcast content because he don't want to pay for the fucking. I'll share my password, dog. Like fuck. Oh, this motherfucker, yo. So what up? EJ, you been watching anything? I could get into mine. I saw shout out to the Evening Rush team over there. They mentioned the Madea movie, which I did watch. That was going to be part of my binges. So go ahead, EJ. I'll let you ride, and then I got a few. So
nah, I started Euphoria. I got to get back to it. There was this Netflix series, Pieces of Her, something like that. Pretty interesting. I actually been watching it as background noise, but I gotta get back to it and watch it. I saw the Batman. The Batman was interesting, man. It wasn't. It's a good flick. It's deep. It's not your typical superhero movie. I think it's Oscar caliber.
You said it was a love story, right? No, without spoiling.
It's a crime
story. I thought I saw somebody say it was a love story, but
it has.
But what kind of crime are we talking about? Because like Michael Keaton Batman is like a crime fighter, and Christian Bale Batman is like stopping global terrorism.
Right. I was gonna say world saving.
Yeah. No. I mean, it's Batman. It's true to the comics. It's the true detective type joint. And it's pretty much, you know, he's year 2 of Batman. He's figuring shit out. He's mad as fuck. And
how'd Pattinson do?
Cool. Pattinson, I told people before, he's up there. He's one of the best.
So he's got range.
He's got range. I ain't gonna hold you. He's one of the best Batmans we've seen on screen so far. So.
That's the only question that's been in place for me for the Batman is was he going to be able to kind of translate, and not him translating, because I think he's a pretty damn good actor, you know, in the shit that we've seen him in. But like we talk about it all the time, like with Tony Soprano and stuff like that. Can you separate him? I know you can, and we can, because me personally, I didn't watch the fucking vampire shit. I can't remember the name of the show. Twilight. I didn't even watch it, but can people do that? You know what I'm saying? Are people going to be able to do that and be like, oh shit, it's Batman? Or are they going to be like, is it Edward? Right? He was Edward, or was he Jacob?
Edward.
I have no idea.
Edward. Is he Edward? Yeah.
He's Edward.
He's been in other
like
stuff.
That's the only thing.
Though. He's been in other stuff since that, where he's been.
Yeah, he was in Tenet.
I didn't finish Tenet.
Yeah, he's the they look like they made him put some weight on for that role. Like not that much, probably like 10 pounds or so. But yeah, he's the co-star to Denzel's son in Tenet.
Right.
So I should go see Batman, EJ. I'm gonna see it
anyway. I think you'll like it for sure, because you like stuff that is deep in acting and, you know, drama and stuff like that, and that. You know, it has its slow parts, but it's definitely a deep film. And if Joker got all of those awards, this one is definitely going to get some awards for sure.
I'm gonna go watch
Joker
it for sure.
Was that great, to be honest.
I'm gonna go see it, man. Plus, I need a movie fix. It's been a while anyway.
Yeah, I'm seeing it today, so you know, we'll see.
Don't ruin it, dog. You got a way of coming in the chat and being like, not to ruin anything, but EJ, remember that part when Batman died? Like this is the type of shit that you be doing. What else you been watching, EJ?
That was it. That was it that I can really recall. Just a regular lineup of shows. Nothing new out of the ordinary.
Okay. All right. So I've been I did watch Medea. Shout out to again Evening Rush. They brought that up in the chat. I watched that, and I see I'm different from you guys. You guys go into shit and you'd be like, either this thing's gonna be good or bad. I go into stuff with expectations, knowing, like Vari can't accept the fact that Tyler Perry just, that's his claim to fame, is he plays on black stereotypes. Like, that's his thing. So I go into it expecting it, and I don't let it bother me, and I take out of it what I can. But it had some good funny parts in it. You know, it's Tyler Perry, right? And it's Medea, so you get what you get. I wish that, well, I don't want to ruin anything, but you guys, get around to watching it. It's good though. It's worth a watch. It's, it is what it is. It's what you're gonna get. I've watched. I started this this show on Apple TV called Severance. There was some commercials about it, but it's pretty cool. Basically, the idea about it is, when you go to work, you have one set of you have one side of your brain that's unlocked, basically, and then when you leave work, that side of your brain is completely locked. You have no thoughts or remembrance of what took place throughout the day there, and when you're at work, you don't remember at all what's going on at home, right? So they, when you go in, they call it the severed floor. So you're part of the severed floor, and you agree or you sign off on them doing like a procedure that sets it so that your brain blocks that out. So if I come out of work and you'd be like, yo, how was work today? What did you see? I can't tell you shit because I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I only know what I know when I get out of there. And vice versa. When I'm in there, can't really tell you shit about the home life. I just completely forget about it. It's interesting. It's weird. So I'm only episode and a half through that, but I'm interested to see how it plays out. It's cool. It's pretty cool. Force, of course. I watched this today's episode. Did you watch today's episode last night?
I didn't. I fell asleep on it.
So I did watch the episode that's scheduled to air today, but comes out at midnight. I watched that this morning, and I think this is probably the best episode so far. And I know last episode we both liked it. You had mentioned you liked it, but I hadn't watched it yet. And when I did watch it, I liked the last episode. But I think this episode, I liked more. And when you watch it, it's not because the overwhelming amount of violence, even though that does attract me. But it's a very climactic episode. Like, you can see storylines opening up in this episode, at least 3 to 4 to 5 different storylines opening just from this episode. Like, you can you have to lead into it with the other 4, but this one you can see in the 5th episode, like, there's gonna be a lot of shit going. And as I watch this power, I don't know what you want to call it, but all of it, the series,
the Power Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, the universe, Power Universe. That's what we're gonna call it.
PC.
I'm starting to see it like those Chicago shows, Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, and so on. And I'm thinking that if 50's smart enough, he's gonna get some writers that are intelligent enough and creative enough to find a way at some point to start looping these in, right? If you don't watch the Chicago show, Chicago Fire PD and Med, they find ways, like on premiere night, to loop all 3 in, so that you got characters from Med, you got characters from here, and you got characters from there, and then you can still go off into the individual show and the individual story and still live that life. And it seems like, if they're not thinking that, they need to be, because
Gotta be a way. It's gotta be a way.
Because you still hear them talking about Tommy and Ghost, right? When you know what I'm saying, you still hear him talking about Ghost, which of course he's dead, but you still hear them talking about him. And there's definitely going to be ways to do that. They got to get creative, and if they do, man, it's just obviously 50's dealing with stars trying to get his deal done, whatever. But man, this thing could be something really, really big, I think.
Chicago shows are lit. Do you keep up with the Chicago shows, Steve? Like the new episodes?
I'm about probably a season behind, give or take.
The new because I only really like PD. I'll catch Fire and Med, just as background noise. But Chicago PD's picked up. They at a pretty climactic point right now, and that's dope. But
It's
I
crazy
mean,
because I prefer Fire, but
yeah, I like PD the most.
maybe because it was just first. You know what I'm saying? Like Fire was first, and I already was attached to characters and stories and shit. So it was hard for me to kind of get in. I do like. I don't know if he's still there or not. But Voight was my guy on PD.
Yeah, Voight is that dude.
My
Voight is a
guy.
savage,
Yeah, man.
nasty man.
And then so I watched that. There was something else I was watching. And I lost complete track of it. Damn it. There was something else. If it comes to me, I'll get back to it. But yeah, check out Severance. I think you might appreciate that, Vari. On Apple TV. EJU also, I think both of you guys would appreciate that show. After I give it a couple more episodes, I'll tell you for sure. But I'm about an episode and a half in, and after I tell you this, after the first episode, I wanted to watch the second one and see what happened. It wasn't one of those where I was like, I could get to this, whenever. It's one of those where I'm kind of looking forward to watching a few more episodes when I get some downtime.
Yeah,
for sure. Yo, your man LeBron, man, his crown is getting rusty, dog. Like these young dudes, they say don't throw rocks at the throne. They like, man, fuck your throne. Like this, I mean, get it 19 years in, it's about right. It's about that time. But the Lakers, dog, there's so much like drama over there. Now you got Russ talking about he don't think he's gonna be back, and which I mean, I think that's pretty clear. AD can't stay healthy. This dude is like paper mache. It's fucking crazy, man.
The crazy thing is, if they get into the playoffs, they still might fucking do something.
And they can still do something, no doubt. No
They
doubt.
still might do something. But it is, LeBron is trying to hold out for Bronny to get in, and it's costing them, yo. It goes to show you that, $1 million a year, all of that. You're one of the best athletes in the world. Listen, you're losing steps. It happens. Father Time is undefeated.
undefeated.
That and what else? We're not gonna talk about that one.
Oh, veg.
Yeah.
Oh, I just thought about what I was watching.
The Jenna from
Sorry.
behind VA.
Yeah. I've been watching you're stupid. I've been watching the Kanye story.
Yeah.
I know you
That
brought
made
that
you
up.
think of that?
No, I didn't. I just opened up my Netflix. Let's open them on my phone. Shout out Netflix. Except for they keep raising the prices. All these, HBO, no, Disney Plus is raising their price. They're out of control. But I started watching the Genius trilogy on Netflix. That Kanye got through, most of the first two. The second one, I probably got about 10 minutes left. Man, I can see why he's batshit crazy. I can see it. His mom did it. Yo, the relationship he had with his mom when you watch this shit is fucking crazy, dog. Like, I know everyone's close to their mom, right? And everyone loves their mom. And I know we all do. Their shit seems super, super crazy, like close. And, this is old film and old tape. So it's not acting. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you could say, hey, fake this a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was his biggest fucking fan. Like they had an
best friend, dog.
Yeah, they had an amazing relationship. Like it was sad. Like for me, it's sad watching it, and she ain't even die on the thing yet. You know what I'm saying? So, just because I know that she did, and I know that and now that I can put two and two together, I see why he's batshit crazy, dog. Like I don't know, man. Like
he took it hard, and. Yeah, and I mean he had no time like a normal person to maybe grieve and do whatever, being in the spotlight,
mm-hmm.
And you could tell she was just everything, man. I mean, I don't know the guy, but I'd imagine that there'd be no Kim K around him if she was around, Yeah.
I don't know, man, because as much as she was, like it seemed like she would have supported anything. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's the same thing for, you know, my mom, your mom, right? Like we always think, they may not approve of this type of thing, whatever it might be. You know what I'm saying? And if it's a detriment to us, if it could cause us harm, they're not going to, right? But you know,
That's Kim
you
K.
bring if you bring somebody home and you tell your mom you love her, your mom, she might not like it, but she's gonna love it. She's gonna accept it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's as much as I know about your mom. She might not be happy about it. She might get behind you and call my mom and be like, EJ had the nerve to bring home a blonde hair, blue eye. Like, you know what I'm saying? But but in she's gonna love her the same
Well, I don't think it's
because she
because
loves you.
I don't think it's because Kim is white, but I think his mom was so in tune with what's going on. It's hard for you to miss who Kim might seem to be on the surface,
Mhm.
like the relationships, the scandals, the drama. You know, I don't know. Like a mom would be like, "Nah, son, I don't know." Like we don't know her personally, but just like I said before
Right.
last week, the things surrounded with that family and surrounded with her. mm, Chris
I'd like to
Humphries, Ray J.
I know. I'd like to get some more insides of Kim. Like, like I saw her on the Letterman show, or when he had his thing on Netflix, and I thought she did pretty good. Like, she didn't seem crazy, and even on Saturday Night Live, she didn't seem like that kind of um, scandalous person.
But that shit
And
is
I
scripted though.
know that stuff is scripted, but I think we give them, the Kardashians, a lot of blame, and on the surface it does look like they be fucking these dudes, because all of them, like Scott Disick, like every single one of them. The only one that didn't come out crazy yet, which still remains to be seen, is Travis Scott, and Devin Booker. But maybe these dudes just don't, like, it's a lot to take on too. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going into something that you've never experienced. No matter what kind of star you are, you don't have Kardashian stardom. You know what I'm saying? You don't have Kim K stardom. I don't care who you think you are, basketball player, football player, rapper. Like, that's a different kind of stardom. You can't leave your house or her house, or you can't do anything without a camera in your face. And adjusting to that kind of lifestyle, I think they get a raw deal. Not saying that they don't contribute to it in some way, and I'm sure they do, but I'd love to see a little bit more of the insides of it, because again, we see their show, and their show is scripted also.
Yeah.
I'd like Kim Raw,
And then also like how you were saying, like regardless of the kind of star that you are, if you're not used to living a lifestyle like that, like as an example, I saw an interview with Jimmy Butler one time, right? And they was asking him like what kind of car does he drive and shit. And he was like, "Oh, I drive a minivan." And the reporter was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, I don't want people following me around and shit when I go out or whatever." You know what I mean? He's like, "I got cars, but when I go out, I drive a minivan. So that way, people, I'm on the road, nobody don't look like, oh shit, that's Jimmy Butler. They damn, that dude kind of looks like Jimmy Butler, but why would Jimmy Butler be in the minivan?"
right.
And then he just keeps it moving. But then you go from that kind of lifestyle to fucking with Kim Kardashian, and that shit just like upends like your whole vibe. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. No doubt. But yeah, I think I know VP. You have a lot against. You have a lot against Kanye right now, rightfully so, because of what you support and the way Kanye has been. But I think it's worth a watch for you, because you get to see it for me too, right? Because I didn't like Kanye. You know what I'm saying? I really don't. I didn't like Kanye at all. Like, I'm starting to understand some of his genius as I listen and see him work. And I like I told you guys last week, it's hard for me to realize, to think that this guy is really that fucking crazy, yet all these mega stars still surround themselves. And you had a point, VP, when you said, what you said about, them getting the exposure and stuff. But for them to all be still around, like, you could ruin your brand. You know what I'm saying? By being around
Yeah.
certain people.
Well, the game spoke on working with Kanye, and I mean, I agree with you, Steve. It's just the things that we see, and I think we really forget how much of a megastar this guy is. And in the opposite of Jay-Z, where Jay-Z is closed off and we rarely get to hear from him, Ye is capitalizing on that shit. You know what I mean? Like everything he does, is literally marketing. It's all marketing. Like this whole thing could be marketing. Like he launches the streaming thing, makes 2 mil the first whatever amount of minutes it was out, so everything for this dude is marketing. And it just goes to show you, man, how he was dope. Like just how he got himself in the game, and no one believed in this dude. And it's crazy how no one believed in this dude, and he literally
Persistence.
had to make his own way, and now he's a megastar. It's incredible. It's the epitome of what the American dream is supposed to be.
And I think that that's an excellent point right there, EJ. And because like I've heard stuff like that said about other people, where it's like, okay, like from what I've heard about the documentary, I haven't seen it yet. Like I saw the clip on Twitter of him like playing the Through the Wire. I guess it was like an A&R dude or something like that. And the dude was just looking like, yo, when is this dude gonna get the fuck out of here? And he's just ignoring him. And that's Kanye. That's one of his biggest hits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so in your mind, it's like nobody believed in me, and I'm seeing this thing, and they just don't understand my vision yet. You know what I mean? But once I get it there, it's gonna be dope. It's gonna be crazy, and then they're gonna be like, oh, he wasn't crazy. He was just a genius. And all, you know what I mean? And so you kind of start living on your own hype, but some of that shit that he's doing is just not rational. You know what I mean? And it just seems fucking crazy. And I mean, maybe he's playing 3-dimensional chess, and I don't get it yet. But I'm looking like this dude needs to be medicated. You know what I mean?
But some of the shit that he's like, to be fair, we gotta ask what he's really doing. And at the end of the day, right? He's a dude like any other dude, right? His wife, bad as shit, left him for Pete Davidson. Motherfucker's mad,
Goofball.
dog. The motherfucker's mad, dog. Like
I don't have a problem with him being mad.
We got homies that do worse. The only
right.
thing, the only difference is we know about it.
It's no better though. But but the thing is that when if one of the homies gets upset that his girl left him for what he assumes is a downgrade, right? And he posted a video of himself like burning her picture in effigy or some shit on Facebook. That's gonna get seen by 30 people, and that's it. When Kanye does that shit's gonna be seen by 60 million people, or however many people follow him, including people who might be fucking deranged, who feel like they have to act on his behalf. Like, I mean, like think about this, EJ, and you're old enough to know about this shit, right? Think about back in the 90s when Big and Pac were beefing, right? There were people who were like, fuck Tupac, he's a piece of shit, da 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 da, and vice versa on the Tupac versus Biggie side was the same way. And
I'm people.
It was, and granted, it was motherfuckers like so Steve, I'm pretty sure he was, on Team Biggie, like, yo, fuck Pac, probably didn't listen to his music and none of that, I ain't putting no money in his motherfucking pocket, da 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 da. You know what I'm saying? But it was people out there who might have been willing to go further. Yo,
Right.
if I see this motherfucker in Vegas, if I see him in fucking Cleveland, whatever, I got Pac, my man. Pac don't even know you, dog. He doesn't know who
But that's the cost of fandom. We can't, you calling him. I understand what you're saying, and there's a responsibility of things. But even Pac said back then, I'm nobody's, role model. This is the price of stardom, and we as a people need to put less on the celebrity and more on society for the parents and lack thereof to say, look, motherfucker, have a reality check. We can't blame Kanye for being real. Like we say he's fake and phony, but when he actually reacts like a fucking mad husband, we get mad at him just because he's famous. That shit ain't his fault. Kim shouldn't be smashing this dude.
EJ, Uncle Ben.
He does have to be. He does have to be. He has a. He needs to be responsible with his platform.
Exactly.
Like
With
if
great
like
power comes great responsibility.
yeah, I think if our listen,
Yeah,
if
that
our
nigga
reach
Uncle
was
Ben died.
oh my god, if if our reach was that long, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, there's no way I would come on. I wouldn't be on here talking about you being a scumbag to women. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't you know I don't want you to be seen in that light if our reach
But
was
it's
that
not
long.
true.
I wouldn't talk about you, you know, emptying the old bag of marbles once a week. You know, with something somewhere different. You know, you got to put your marbles in the drawer. Who, you know, find a drawer and put them in there. You know, but he just has to be responsible with the platform. I think, and that's a good point, VP. And then also, it's okay to be a visionary, right? But sometimes when you're getting close to that conspiracy shit, it's no longer visionary, right? And what I'm mentioning or making reference to is, you know, some of the political stuff that he said in the past and stuff, right? There's a lot of it is not factual. It's his opinion and thoughts and stuff, and it's difficult to make your political stance on things be strictly based off of opinion. You know what I'm saying? It's okay if you're just voting, right? But it's not okay if you're swaying millions and millions and hundreds of millions and billions of people's thoughts and stuff like that, in my opinion.
No, he got flack really for being black, I think. And you know, aligning with Trump, that was obviously a bad thing. But his frustration was rooted in the fact that he said, I've been a Democrat my whole life and they haven't done shit for black people. That is true till this day.
But neither are Republicans.
So right. And not
I'm not
only that,
knocking
right?
that. Not knocking that.
But also you have to, and this is something I said at the time when we discussed this, right? You have to also look at where people are, right? And something that you notice when you follow politics is that a lot of people who are black Republicans tend to be well off. And so somebody like Kanye might be like, I've been a Democrat my whole life. They haven't done shit for me. And then I'm looking at Trump and my paycheck looks a little bit higher because I got my taxes cut. You see what I'm saying? And so you have to kind of factor that kind of shit in or whatever. But for me, it didn't start with the Kanye being a Trump supporter. It started with shit like when he went on TMZ and said slavery was a choice, you know. And as a black man, for you to say something as fucking idiotic as that, you know what I mean? Like that shit just kind of it not kind of that shit rubbed me the wrong way. You know what I mean? For a black person to say that millions of black people chose to live in fucking the brutality of slavery. You know what I mean? His own ancestors. It was a choice. You know what I mean? You chose to go pick cotton and get the shit beat out of you if you didn't make the poundage each day or what. You know what I mean? Like that's just
Yeah, that's tasteless, untimely. And you know, there's ways to say stuff. I'm sure he's not that wasn't like his message. It came across like that, no doubt. But if I'm reading deeper into the message, I'm thinking the message was, you know, what did people do about it, right? You know, you had people that did stuff about it, Harriet Tubman and, you know, the likes, Nat Turner. You know, you got people that actually did something about it. And I think that might have been, I'm hoping that was his message, right? But and I can't speak for him, but you know, when you go back and you go hindsight, you can think of that. But in real time, and you hear that, it is infuriating. You know, when you think about your ancestors and you think about, you know, even you think about today, think about us today, like the shit that we deal with still in 2022, we're still fighting for rights. You know what I'm saying? Like
and
it was just bad.
it goes to this line of thinking, and we've talked about this on the podcast, and me and EJ bring this shit up all the time of people who say shit like we're not our ancestors. You know what I mean? And granted, while we do have more freedom and you know, we live like, you know, a knuck if you buck and all this kind of shit like that, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, these people were fucking terrorized to make sure that there was instant obedience. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you want to fuck around? We're gonna take your kid and sell him down the road. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you want to talk back? We're gonna hang your fucking sister to show you, like, you know, we're not playing this kind of shit. You know what I mean?
And
These people,
we still getting that fear to this day, and we ain't doing shit.
right? Their compliance was ingrained through brutality. You know what I'm saying? And to say like these people just chose to be slave, like that's, you know, that's it's just, it's idiotic, man. It's so fucking stupid. You know, like, fuck that dude.
I agree in that regard, of course. And I mean, that's how I feel about, you know, us saying the N-word so frivolously. You know what I mean? Oh, we took the power back. I don't know that we would feel that way in 1998 to 2022 if we were getting knocked upside the head, getting called nigger. You know, like,
Yeah.
I don't think there's no way. And the fact that we, you know, just blow it off, it shows a total disregard for what our ancestors went through. Not even our ancestors, fucking parents and grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's that close.
Yeah, no doubt. And we're still going through it today, right? We're just not going through it in the, you know, in the same fashion of getting beaten and, you know, being held captive as slaves, but we're still fight. I mean, we fight it with the legal system. People, you know, black people are fighting against the legal system daily, getting a raw deal. You know what I'm saying? In multiple different places. You know, we have individuals getting killed. We talk about it all the time. You know, we just saw the value, what they feel the value of a black man's life is. You know, what did she get? 18 months, 16 months, some shit like that. Like, come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
And what was it? I gotta look up his name, but I was telling y'all I watched the documentary. Can't remember his name. Damn it. The young man that was found in Georgia, rolled up in the wrestling mat. The
Oh, like in the
conspiracy
high
behind
school or
that.
whatever,
Yeah,
like under the bleacher thing.
yeah.
Yeah. I remember that.
I'm gonna get his information, but that documentary is out, and when you see the corruption behind that, Kendrick Johnson, death of Kendrick Johnson, there's a documentary out on that right now. I think it's on Amazon or Showtime or one of those. And when you see the corruption behind it, boy, oh my God. I'm telling you, Finding Kendrick Johnson is the movie. You guys, yeah, if you watch it, prepare to be fucking mad. Prepare to be mad. And the craziest part, both of you guys have sons. And it's just like, I don't even want to say that, but I can't imagine this family sending their kid to school one day and this happening, and then they fucking lie. Everything that's said about this shit is a lie, and nothing has been done. And I mean, it's gone as far to the feds and up, and nothing has been done. And this is the kind of shit that we need the powers that be to do the right thing. The people involved, allegedly involved, have gone on. They think this done, you know, and this shit is blatant. What happened? It's blatant, and it's nasty. It's bad. I'm telling you, go watch it. You don't do anything else. Watch that shit and prepare to be pissed the fuck off.
What's the platform? What's it streaming on?
I think it's either on Amazon or.
Oh, that's right. Your stuff is not not
No,
labeled. I'll Google it.
I saw it on no, so it's on Stars. But
Okay.
it's available on Hulu. Yeah, it's available on Hulu. Yeah, Hulu is another place it's available on.
Okay.
So,
I'm gonna check it out. But yeah, that's a you know, that's a point. That's something that I think about every day. You know, I'm still early into my stages, and I know VP, you got to think about it every day. It's nerve wracking, you know, to send TJ to school and have to worry about what could be. Right? We see these stories every day, like the kid in fucking Texas, and I forget his name. where they were hazing him, you know, and they peed on him and you know, they shit on him and stuff, and all the white parents of the kids were like, well, those are just boys being boys. Nah, dog, that's not all right. All right. Well, it's about to be boys being boys then, because I'm a shit in your mouth and I'm gonna be in jail for a long time because you know, it's just boys being boys, right? Because it's gonna be really, really bad. But you know, I think about when you hear that stuff, like, how could we still be dealing with that these days? You know what I'm saying? Like, how are you okay with your kid doing that? And if you're okay with your kid doing it, that's fine. But understand what's to come. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, understand what's to come.
Yeah, bro. It honestly, man, I watched it and I instantly was in tears, bro, because you know these parents. He had loving, involved parents. Not that it should fucking matter, right? Because everybody wants to pick apart their background and who they are and all of this shit.
Mm-hmm.
When a kid was murdered, and then all of these people are involved in covering it up. And again, you know, it's another black life. Like we always talk about, when the one white person goes missing, the whole world stops. Black girls go missing, black boys go missing. No one cares. This kid was murdered, obviously, and it's a huge cover up, and no one is doing anything. It could be
Yeah.
anybody's kid.
Yeah.
It's nasty.
Yeah, it's tough that we deal with that shit, man. You know. What's going on the political front, VP? I know there's a lot. Biden's kind of putting a strain on, or attempting to put a strain on Russia, significantly, and it doesn't seem to be. It doesn't seem to be stopping anything over there.
Yeah, I mean, on the political front, man, it's basically been all Ukraine. Everything else has kind of been taking a back seat. You know, as an example, this past week, the January 6th committee in a court filing, they were trying to get John Eastman's emails. He's the advisor who was advising Mike Pence that he could throw out certain electoral votes to declare Trump the winner. And in his filing to stop the subpoena, Eastman is basically saying like he was advising Trump as an attorney, so there's attorney-client privilege there, so you can't get his emails. And the House committee submitted to the court documents that they say support their claim that an exception can be made because you can break certain privileges like the attorney-client privilege using something called the crime fraud exception.
Mhm.
And they were basically alleged in their documents that they have proof, or not that they have proof. The evidence that they have leads them to believe that Eastman and Trump operated in some kind of criminal conspiracy to break U.S. law. And that was like a one-day story because it's all just been Ukraine. And so so everything's just been pretty much all Ukraine, man. They've put more and more sanctions on the Russian, government, the Russian economy, these oligarchs. They're seizing their yachts.
That shit crazy.
Seizing property. Bank accounts that are either in the U.S. or Europe. They're seizing funds.
Putin's best friend.
Yeah.
Putin's best friend got his joint snatched.
One of the you have the companies who are basically saying they're not fucking with Russia. And like, part of it, I was telling a friend about this, because I saw a thing that said that like Netflix cut off Russia basically. So, they were like, they're not accepting payments from Russians, which means they're not going to have Netflix accounts, right? And I was telling a friend, I was like, this kind of stuff, people think about sanctions and they, you hear about the oligarchs and shit like that, but this shit affects everyday people. And that's kind of the point, is that you make life hard on people. So that way the leader says, man, this shit is fucking my country up. I got to stop. I got to change my behavior to make the world like get off my ass. But Putin doesn't care about the people. So I'm not sure if that'll work. But to kind of go back to Steve's point when he brought up his trip, in gas prices, and I commented and said, well, some people want them to go higher, and because Russia is a petrol state, basically, they oil and gas is like something like 40% of their entire economy is oil and gas. They're not a really diversified economy. Some people believe that we should start putting sanctions and freezing out the oil and gas, and then that is really going to hurt them and bring them to the table to stop the shit or whatever. But if we do that, then we're going to see gas prices skyrocket way beyond where they are right now. Oil is something like $110-$115 a barrel. If they do that, oil could get to, I saw something on some financial news I was watching this week saying like between $150 to $200 a barrel, which would make gas prices, like between $5 and $7. So we would feel a lot of pain here, and throughout the world. Now there are also some people who are talking, and I keep seeing these reports, but it's just like talking heads and like these think tanks and shit like that. But I have to imagine this shit is coming from somewhere. So I'm wondering if something is happening behind the scenes that we don't know about. I keep hearing about Iran, and the point that I'm making on Iran is that we've sanctioned the Iranian oil industry. So like there's no Iranian oil sold in the US, right? And that really hurts their economy like really bad. Iran is something like 4% of global oil production. Russia's like 7%, right? So some people are saying like, oh, if they go after the oil and gas, let's drop that shit on Iran and bring them back into the fold to supplement what we're losing from Russia to make the blow not as deep. I haven't heard anything like that being talked about from like government people, but all these talking heads and think tank type motherfuckers are saying it. So it's making me think like this shit is probably being discussed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it could make sense. I mean, what's the from your point of view, what's the cons to that?
The cons of it is that you're putting more money into the Iranian government. After the Trump administration got out of the Iran deal that Obama made, the Iranians started going heavy on their nuclear program because they were like, well, fuck it. They're not dealing with us anymore. So it could give them more money and help them start getting to these, nuclear ambitions faster. So stuff like that, I guess, could be a con. I mean, I'm pretty sure that there are more, but that's just something I could think of off the top of my head. But,
it's almost a repeat of what we've seen in the past when we were beefing with Russia and we were funding the Taliban. You risk giving Iran bread and they could turn around and fuck us over later on, all because we want to get Russia out the way so bad. I mean, in this instance, of course, it's obviously more of a reason, but yeah, it's basically the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah. And it's funny that you bring that up because I was literally thinking about that this week because there was a report that we sent like 14 like cargo planes, over to I think Poland to drop off food, medicine, weapons, Javelin missiles, Stinger missiles and shit like that to fight the Russians. And they were like General Milley, who's the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, was like over there like supervising the handoff of the weapons, to the Ukrainians and shit, And when you think back to the 80s when Russia invaded Afghanistan, we were doing that shit like super cold. We were doing it, but like it was like 2-3 steps removed. Like we were fucking we were like buying weapons from like Israel and then having them shipped through Egypt and then delivered by somebody else, like totally fucking hands off. You know what I mean? And this time it's like, yeah, yo, look at this. Check out my Instagram. You're like, like stunting for the gram shit. Dropping off these missiles, dog. You know what I'm saying?
We in this thing, baby.
But the scariest thing about this this whole Ukraine shit, man, is that people keep saying they feel like Putin has changed. Like people who've dealt with like Michael McFaul, who was Obama's ambassador to Russia. And he was like, I know Putin. I've met him, several times or whatever. He's like, he seems different. And people are wondering, is this guy a rational actor? Like, 3-4 times since this shit has started, he's been talking about his nuclear arsenal. You know what I mean? And people are like, whoa, you know what I mean? And then he says some shit about nukes, and then the French ambassador was like, you know, well, NATO's a nuclear alliance too, you know, like, so basically, like, you know, like don't fuck around and, you know, get fucked up or something, you know, don't fuck around and find out kind of shit, you know.
Right.
And but like this kind of talk is, you know,
It's
this
insane.
shit is not good, yo.
It's
You know what I mean?
insanity. We're literally gonna blow each other up.
Yeah. And then Putin said yesterday, he talked about how like what the sanctions and things like that are doing to Russia, it, you know, could be considered a declaration of war. And he mentioned the other day like how economic wars sometimes turn to real wars and shit like that, you know. So I don't know, it seems like Putin is trying to make Russia great again, you know. But the thing that is nervous for me is that, I mean, you're seeing these reports of the Russian, I mean, I can think back to when I was in the service, you know, like we didn't talk about the Russians like that, but I mean, we knew, you know, like, you know, we think that they're our biggest enemy, you know, so we got to be ready for these motherfuckers because, you know, like they're a real army, you know, you know, all this kind of shit. And you watching these motherfuckers in Ukraine, they look like JV players, yo. They're like logistically, they're running out of food. They're abandoning tanks because they're running out of gas. That kind of shit didn't happen to us in Iraq. And we invaded Iraq from the United States. Like we had to go across the water and shit. These Ukraine is next door. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they're just like they look, they don't, you know, it doesn't look like what you would expect from a modern military, you know what I mean? And so
Right.
I say that to say, if some shit popped off and we end up, you know, in a land war with these people, I think that they would get fucked up. And then you could see Putin resorting to using, you know, weapons of mass destruction like nuclear and shit, you know?
And that's crazy.
And then, of course, we would have to respond.
And
Right, no
the
doubt.
sad part
No
is
doubt.
the Russian people are looking at this dude like, yo, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
Like, what's your problem, B? Like,
That you know, that's the sadder part to me, is that we would have to respond. You know what I'm saying? Like we know that, you know, we got shit in orbit and stuff, so it for the most part we'll be okay. You know what I'm saying? But we have to respond, and then you got innocents, you know, being, you know, dealing with what the response looks like. And I think that's a hard choice. That would be a very hard choice for Joe Biden. He's like a non-confrontational type guy. You know what I'm saying? And you know, you have to push him to the limit for him to get to that point. How can they constantly be getting into these meetings at these tables and nobody just like, you know what, I'm gonna just set it on this dude? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is the shit I'll be reading like, oh, Putin has decided to sit down with so and so. Fuck with me, the Dillinger would come out. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's over. We just ended it. You know, everyone's against this guy. Like, just do it.
You keep hearing people talk about that, like they think like, you know, Putin may have to go, like they said the one guy was like, he might have to go to Julius Caesar route, you know. But you know, I don't know, man. I don't know. You know, like they said, they talked about, I saw a thing saying a lot of his security is like former, you know, KGB guys and shit like that, people who were like super loyal to him. You know, like even with the sanctions, they were saying like the same guy Mike McFaul, who was the ambassador, he was like, you know, he was like, you put that list up showing the sanction. He was like, oh, this guy, you know, like he was like, Steve don't care that EJ got sanctioned. He was like, because EJ is one of the oligarchs who got rich in the 90s when the Soviet Union collapsed, and the newer oligarchs, they got rich because of Putin. And so they're like, fuck that dude. I don't care if he loses his $600 million yacht. You know what I'm saying? And so even that with squeezing the oligarchs, they, you know, they were saying you got to put the oligarchs in different buckets. You got the ones like remember the dude who used to own the Nets, Mikhail Prokhorov?
Yeah.
Like he's one of those oligarchs that got rich back in the 90s. You know, like he didn't get his money from Putin. And some of these newer dudes, they're rich because Putin put them in certain positions that allowed them to enrich themselves, and so they're loyal to him, you know.
Right.
yeah,
And at the end of the day, you know, if you're an oligarch, right, and you know, you're not being affected by Netflix, you know, going out of Russia, you know, you don't give a shit about that. You know, you probably buy the fucking the shit on film and watch it in your home theater, you know.
and his
You don't
best
care
friend,
that Visa and MasterCard stop processing payments in Russia. You don't got a Visa or MasterCard. You know what I mean? You probably got a black
Taking-
card. You know what I'm saying?
taking my yacht. I'm like, all right, you gonna give it back
Yeah,
No,
somehow.
they're not giving them back. They're gonna auction them.
Yeah, well, they gonna get it back somehow. They
Yeah,
gonna
but,
get
but
something.
at the end of the day, and if you think about this, right, like most of the shit comes from oil and gas. So you know, even though they're being sanctioned now or whatever, once this conflict is over, however it resolves itself, they'll get that money back in the future. You know,
long
so
run. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of them, probably don't really care right now.
Listen, man, I hear that the security, but and the oligarchs and all of them, but you like your life. Like nobody, like I'm not dying. There's very few people in this world that I would put my life at stake for. You know what I'm saying? Like I could probably count it on one hand quickly. And so if you take this man out at one of these tables, I think his security and all the other motherfuckers might think twice. Like, you know what? They not playing fair. We good. We gonna go head back. Y'all gonna turn Netflix back on because I ain't gonna have shit to do tonight. We not at war no more. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I see. For me, that's how the shit need to end.
Yeah.
The other scary part is China, North Korea, looking in the background like, yeah,
Right.
we gonna
Let
fuck
these
with y'all.
let these two fight it out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then when they're wounded, you know what I'm saying? Set
It's
it.
crazy. This shit
Yeah.
is crazy. In 2022,
Mm-hmm.
we're having discussions as if this is 1930, 35.
Yeah, and I
38.
mean, everything old is new again. Because
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this is like this kind of shit that we're feeling is what people were worried about, back in the 30s and the 40s and shit like that. And this is before these countries were nuclear powers, which now takes that shit to another level.
Yeah.
Mhm. And you got the news and socials and stuff that makes shit, it fucks with people's egos. You know what I'm saying? Which makes somebody like a Putin be like, he's an arrogant piece of shit.
Yeah.
He gonna be like, oh, I'm losing? I'm losing? Man, bring the button. Bring the button, nigga. Like, give me whatever I need. Bring the computer over. Unlock the
And then
briefcase.
they passed a law on either Thursday or Friday saying like if you spread fake news in Russia, you could go to jail for up to 15 years. And what they mean by fake news is like calling this war a war, because they're not calling it a war in Russia. The Russian government calls it a special operation. Like, they're just conducting this small operation to get rid of Nazis out of Ukraine. They're not trying to overthrow the government there or anything like that. They haven't bombed any hospitals or any schools or any neighborhoods and that kind of shit. They're not shooting at nuclear power plants with tanks.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't done any of that stuff. So if you spread that kind of shit, you can go to jail for up to 15 years. And then another Russian MP, which is like a member of parliament, like they're people in Congress, basically, talked about wanting to put a bill in place that said the people who are being arrested at protests for protesting this war should be conscripted and sent to the front lines.
Damn.
I'm like, yo,
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in the middle of all of this, I logged into my account yesterday and I still have student loan debt listed there. Like, dog, Navient done sold my shit off to another company. Like,
And
these
not only
niggas
that,
is just,
the train is never
they
late with this guy.
not only that, in Ukraine, black people, after all this shit, black people still ain't worth shit.
Mhm.
They might be Africans, but they black, dog. And the crazy thing for me is that if you think about it, like what would denounce or what would distinct me from African Ukrainian? They look just like me, other than the accent, etc. They basically like fuck you, you're black. No, not going nowhere, not helping you, shitting on you. Still, even in crisis in the world, black
Yeah.
people still ain't shit.
I mean, that's been a big part of the news. Like, people were saying like how these European countries are just welcoming in these Ukrainian refugees with open arms But when shit was popping off in Syria and in places like Turkey and places like that, they basically were shutting the door to these refugees. And the main difference is that those people in Ukraine are white, and those people from the Middle East are of Arab descent, and even in the reports, like you've seen reporters who Trevor Noah put this piece together on the Daily Show, where he showed these reports of them saying like, this isn't like some third world country, like this is Ukraine, this is Europe we're talking about, no, like, you know what I mean, and like just to see the difference in reporting and making, the way it sounds, it's like, we're not talking about these savages over here, like these are real people, is how it comes off, you know what I mean, and we're seeing that, and then that shit is fucking disgusting, and they need to get that shit fixed like real fucking quick, man.
That frustrates me when I see these videos and I hear about it. But what I compare it to similarly is, the treatment that Mexicans and people from South America got at our border, right? I don't support that shit. We don't support that shit. There's a lot of people in America that don't support that shit. So it doesn't make me feel it doesn't make me feel a certain way any less about Ukrainian people dying and, being harmed and, being treated like shit by the Russians at this point. So as a people, I'm not upset at them. And I think it's important for people to be able to mention that, because when I see these videos, it's almost like people are posting these videos like, you care about Ukraine, but look at what they're doing to black people. You know what I'm saying? And the care that we have about Ukraine is not necessarily about the people that are treating the black Ukraine or the African Ukrainians that way. It's the people in general just dying. Like, these are just people getting killed over senseless bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
So most of them aren't black Ukrainians. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's some that are. A lot of these people are like students who are in Ukraine, like from Africa. But regardless, they're still black, and they're being treated like shit when they're trying to leave. Like they're basically like, oh, we're prioritizing Ukrainians to leave or whatever, and it's like, if motherfuckers show up at a train station and there's a line, like when it's my turn, it's my turn. Like I shouldn't have to wait in line because I'm not a Ukrainian. I'm trying to get the fuck out of here, just like they're trying to get the fuck out of here. And if there's some kind of queue to get on this train, this bus, this plane, whatever, then when it's my turn, But that doesn't seem to be what's happening here. It seems to be more of, oh, if you're black, you're not Ukrainian, so get the fuck out of here,
Yeah. You still got it. The anger is with the power, right? The reinforcers. To me, it's like, I'm not gonna be mad at a Ukrainian for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, remember, it's important to remember the treatment that brown people in America got. Back during the Gulf War and after 9/11 and stuff like that here in America. You know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't mean any ill will. They're just attached to these countries. It's not their fault. They were born that way. And I feel the same way about Ukrainians, man. I don't feel any, again, this is a personal thought. I don't feel any ill will towards Ukrainians, in dealing with the shit that they're dealing with, simply because of what the treatment of black people. Is it upsetting and frustrating? Absolutely. But it's the videos are just portrayed differently, and I know you guys don't feel that either, but it's just the videos are portrayed completely different.
No, I hear what you're saying, man. It's like people can't look at things nuanced, right? And this is why you can't have discussions like, talking about this kind of thing like on social media in a comment section or something like that, because somebody will say like, how can you be supporting Ukraine? Look what they're doing to these African people, to black people, as if you should say, man, they treated African people bad, so yeah, they should get slaughtered by Russians. Our support for the Ukraine is one on a human level. We're seeing these people's homes destroyed. They have to flee their own country, et cetera, et cetera. But also it's a self-serving purpose, because we're saying, man, if Putin does this in Ukraine, what's to stop him from going into Latvia, into Poland, and to these other countries which are part of NATO now, and then it brings us involved in this shit, and then our own people are not only having to put more resources, but we got to put troops in and fight, and now you're spending blood and treasure to defend this military alliance that we're part of. And so, it's more than just, they did something bad to black people, so we got to say fuck the whole country. You know what I mean?
Oh, we know that would never happen. Fuck, they don't care about black people nowhere. We already get that. Specifically here, goddamn Biden, fucking student loan.
Oh, and on your
shit.
student loan thing, by the way, they're talking about
Suspending.
the suspension.
Yeah, pieces of
Yeah, there you
shit. They gonna suspend us right into the next election. Oh, we're gonna suspend it again. Oh, we give you 6 more months. Hey, give you 6 more months, and then bam, is back. He's on his second leg. They're not. They're not tricking me. I grew up close enough to New York City to know a fucking swindle when I see one.
Steve, other news and rap news. Did you see your boy Joel Ortiz and Joe Budden's going at it?
I did. I actually sat and watched the whole live stream that they were on Instagram yesterday for about, I think it was like an hour and 24 minutes, give or take.
Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts?
So just for those not in tune with such thing,
Those being Vari.
Those being Vari, right, and his people. Joe Budden is a podcaster. He is a rapper. And he was in a group called Slaughterhouse. Slaughterhouse consisted of 4 members: Crooked I, who was from California; Joel Ortiz, who was from the Bronx, New York; Royce 5'9" from Detroit, Michigan; and Joe Budden from New Jersey.
And he also was on Love and Hip Hop.
And he was on Love and Hip Hop and a bunch of other stuff.
Did you mention Crooked I?
Yeah, Crooked I from Cali. They signed to Shady Records as the label some years ago, and things kind of got funky with them. I'll make this story as short and quick as possible, make it succinct. Things got rocky. Joe Budden wasn't happy about it. He was like, yo, I'm retiring. He started doing the podcasting thing, and that was basically his way of getting out of the Shady deal and not having to provide them, with the albums and the music that they signed to on the contract. Fast forward, some years later now, I think it's been like 8 years, probably, maybe more. Shit, maybe 12 years. Crooked I and Joel have kind of gotten back together, and this is the story. This is leading into what recently happened. Crooked I and Joel have been together. They've been making music, and so what's been alleged is that they've reached out to Royce 5'9", who was a member of Slaughterhouse, and he says, no, I don't want to do a Slaughterhouse re-up unless Joe Budden is involved because they're close. And Joe is like, no, I'm retired. Like, I'm not with it. That's their side of the story. The other side of the story is Royce and Joe basically saying, you guys brought us a deal that we would be fronted some money and an advance basically for an X amount of, product. And, Joe being now much more distinguished than he was when they started this, their whole group, and kind of understanding, ownership and stuff like that. This is his side, right? Ask some questions about, well, what are we giving up? What are we losing? What are the benefits? What are the pros? What are the cons here? And so they took it, Crook and Joel took it as, now he didn't want to do it. So we're going to go ahead and do it. And since he said he's not going to do it, then Royce isn't going to do it because Royce told us he's not doing it without him. So the two of us are going to go ahead and get it popping. So they went ahead and they did the deal. They're dropping an album. But on this album, there's been 2 leaked tracks. Or not leaked, but 2 released tracks. And one of which, Vacancy, the one that I've heard. I haven't heard the second one. They talk about this whole situation, how it led up, and the kind of like a beef between them. And this led to a live stream, a Facebook Live, 1.5 group session that turned into a shouting match, basically ending 4 minutes before it ended, where Joe invited Joel to his dick, and Joel invited him back. And so these guys, who are really good friends and brothers, are now at odds.
Very good summary. Very good summary. So what side are you on here?
Man, I'm torn, man. I fuck with Joel heavily from a music standpoint, and I find it hard to believe that these guys would have just said, "Fuck it, let's just go ahead and make this album," without Royce and Joe really saying, "Nah, we're not fucking with it," right? Because end of day, there's still a quote unquote a group. There's still percentages involved here. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go out and make this money, or take this risk at making this money, attaching a brand to it that you have 25% in stake in. You know what I'm saying? The two of you would have 50% at stake in, between Royce and Joe. Why would we take that risk without having something concrete where you said, "Nah, dog, I ain't fucking with it."
Yeah, and for me, Joel saying off the top, like, they brought the deal to you, and Joe says, "Oh, I wanted to know more," and Royce was like, "Well, when was the deal brought?" Them two kind of seem butt hurt in a sense,
Mhm.
like, y'all gonna do something without us. There's no way you could do it without us, but you're doing it. But Joe Budden's completely said 1,001 times he's never rapping again. So
Mhm.
why are we gonna go the extra mile to get you on board with this? And you said you're retired. You basically
Right.
fucked us over 1,000 times by saying you're not gonna rap anymore.
You want me to beg you to come back, so that I could say, so that eventually it could be said that I'm in this financial situation. It's positive financial situation because you decided to come back,
Right,
is what it almost sounds like, is happening from Joe Budden, from Joe's
right.
side.
And Royce just looks stupid because he's being loyal to Joe Budden, who really could give a shit, I think, about any of them. And he looks stupid. And I err on the side of Joel Ortiz. Like, we've been trying to get this thing back together. This is something that's gonna feed my family because you're good and you want to do what you want to do. You want to be retired. Now you're mad. Now you're mad.
Yeah, Joe's
Joe
a
and
narcissist,
and
man.
knowing what Joe did to Rory and Mal, I gotta err on the side of Joel Ortiz.
What I don't understand is why doesn't Button just tell them, like, to EJ's point, like, yo, I'm retired, I'm not rapping anymore. If y'all want to continue using the Slaughterhouse name, that's fine. You know what I mean? And then he just keeps it moving. And then, just make sure I get my check for anything that when I was in Slaughterhouse, and then for the shit going forward, y'all do y'all.
Right. That's
Precisely.
rational, though. That's rational. People aren't always rational. Like when you get into conversations about politics, and individuals don't understand how black people getting the shit end of the stick, and student loans are important to be canceled. There's just people are just not rational.
That train is never late.
No, but you got a point, Vari. I mean, ultimately, that's probably what should happen, right? But I think on the bottom side of it, here's the thing, right? Joe Budden has, and I listen to his pod, and EJ listens to his pod, and we've been listening for a very long time, so you get a good idea of the type of person he is. And from what and this is my take on it, I feel like Joe is a person who wants to be the smartest guy in the room. These guys brought a deal to him. He wanted to poke holes in it because he's so close to the business side now, because he has his own brand, his own network. He's been doing so much with the pod. He had the big Spotify deals and stuff like that, right? So he wants to be like, I'm the business person out of the group. I'm the smartest guy when it comes to business. And you guys picked a shit deal. Let me poke holes in it. You take it back and get us this. And it probably turned out to be a really good fucking deal. And these guys were like, all right, well, you ain't with it. We gonna do it. And now he's probably regretting not just fucking riding with it, or reading it through and saying, all right, let's go ahead and make this move, because it's probably a really good move.
And even without the money side, it's an egotistical thing. Like, they've been trying to get Slaughterhouse back together for years.
Mhm.
and they coming to the table with something, and instead of just being with the homies and saying, yo, we gonna make it work. And I mean, obviously, today's day and age, obviously, no one is looking to get raped out here financially. And it's just like, you know, what's the holdup? And now y'all mad. This dude is retired. Number one, he already
Yeah.
said he's not doing anything, regardless. So we're just gonna believe out of nowhere he's gonna come out of retirement to do this album. Next thing you know, it don't get dropped in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Nah, yo, it's nasty work. And I was kind of surprised at Royce the 5'9" in the position he took. He looked crazy to me. He just looked crazy.
Mhm.
It was
And
nasty.
Joe's eating. He's comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like you eating right now, dog. You eating big off of the pod. You eating big off of Love and Hip Hop. All the shit, all the business endeavors you got. The shit with Diddy, the pull ups where he just did the interview with Nicki Minaj and shit like that. Like you eating, dog. I'm fucking hungry. Like I'm hungry, my nigga. Either I can't wait for you to give me 3 years from now and be like, yeah, I'm with it. I need money now. You know what I'm saying? Gas prices is high, and I got student loans. Like I need the money now, and so I think that's how I'm seeing it, and I think Joe is just it sucks because all four of them are great artists, right? Lyrically, they're great. When they fucking came out with and they made the announcement that they were making an album. They came out with a track, then they made that album. People were so excited, like, yo, this is a group. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is different. And then they went away, and there's so much opportunity for them if they were able to get this back together. Like, there's people that would like the hip hop world would stop for a second, like all that fucking drill shit and all the podunk down south crap, the Migos and shit. That shit's still gonna have a lane, but for a minute they could really stop the interview for a moment. Well, Cardi's always gonna live because she got great tits. I know, Ari. I know if they're not real, they don't matter to you.
I'm just saying. I mean, I got a preference.
Yeah, it's crazy, man, and yeah,
I hope they work it out.
It was nasty just watching it, like, and then when Joe literally just went off to do that, like, in Joel Ortiz, I don't know. Maybe we'll see. I don't know.
It's gonna be interesting because I like I like Joel a lot, and that dude is he's different lyrically. And he told Joe, like, after Joe was like, because he was like, listen, man, if you support me, just support the album. If you watched it at the end, and Joe was like, I gotta support the album to be supporting of you, and he's like, yeah, nigga, support the album. Like, this is my business endeavor, right? Joe's like, suck my dick. Joe was like, oh, word.
That's the part I don't get. Like I said earlier, you know what I mean? Like if Budden is like, I'm not rapping no more. Okay, cool. Y'all go ahead. Use Slaughterhouse name. Yo, I have you on the pod. We'll talk about the new work. That that kind of thing like that.
That's
support
what
your
should
man.
happen.
But this shit is crazy, man.
It's clear that Joe Budden is a scumbag. It's clear.
Yeah, he's
Rory
and
Mal, between Rory and Mal and this, it's clear. Dude is a grimy ass dude. It's clear.
He's moving different, man. He's moving different. I'd like for them to get together because I would love to hear all four of them on a track. I don't think it's gonna happen, but I think it's gonna be interesting to see because I think now that you did that, like Joel probably was taking the high road, and when you go high, I go low, and it seems like Joe went low, so I'm about to meet you there, and I think it could get real interesting.
You got to be like it was this movie I watched. It's a comedy, but it's about politics, and the girl was like, I thought when they go low, we go high, and he was like, we do. He's like, but are you saying when they go low, we go higher in according to how low they went?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then he was like, what? And then she was like, you're basically saying when they go low, like we go slightly higher, but we feel bad about it.
Right. Right. Stay above water. What else is going on? Anything? I've been using this sugar scrub on my feet. Oh,
NFL Combine started this week.
Yeah, they had a fucking defensive lineman that ran like a fucking like a it
4.8.
was like a 4.8.
4.8.
4.8.
Yeah.
Somebody else ran a 4.2 and broke the record, didn't they?
Yeah, but he was
Yeah.
like a wideout though. Like a defensive lineman, fucking
Well, I mean,
sub 5 is that's usually. And,
It's
and
been
then he's not like a Jason Taylor style defensive lineman.
Yeah,
Like
he's
know,
an
this
interior
motherfucker's like 300 something
interior
pounds.
guy. Yeah, big boy, big boy. Combine's been interesting though, man.
Mhm.
Combine's been interesting. Good to see the prospects.
Yeah,
Free agency starts, I think pretty soon. So, yeah, good NFL action.
speaking of that, man, it kind of goes into into what Steve was talking about when he was saying Ukraine. I don't know if you guys saw in the chat, but I'll bring it here. You know, like how people who are just, you know, regular folks shit on expertise, you know. And so I'm watching this or not watching. I follow this reporter who works for the Sun Sentinel, which covers the Dolphins, right? And he was like, "Oh, I'm at the combine. I've been speaking with some NFL execs, and they said that besides running back and wide receiver, this is not really a deep draft for the needs that the Dolphins have, right?" He was like, the draft is super deep at running back receiver, but for the Dolphins' other needs, it's not that deep. So we'll have to see what they do in free agency, da da da. And then people in the comments are like, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, da da da, you know. And I'm like, the people who work in the NFL, whose job it is to scout talent, like, it's just amazing like how quick people can just shit on expertise, you know.
But the reason is it's what makes them experts is always the question. You know what I mean? Because some of these guys reporting, the Ian Rappaports, Scheffners, all of these different people, they've never played the game, they never coached the game. They're just people that opportunistically wrote and got jobs, and they've been around, and they get it wrong.
They weren't saying he was wrong, the reporter. They're saying that the NFL people that he talked to, like the scouting people and shit like that, they don't know what they're talking about.
Even still, I'm saying these even those guys, they get it wrong. Sometimes they get it wrong, you know. So as a Dolphins hater, I think this draft, you guys need defense.
Yeah,
it's some
not
guys.
Too much, but we
guys.
Mostly running back. We need another receiver. We need offensive line is like the priority for us.
There's some guys in this draft, and y'all are in key position to get some good people the first couple rounds easily.
Yeah,
Breece Hall out of Iowa State. He's a 6'2" running back. Just ran a 4.3. He's gonna be there round 2. He could be there. He could be your guy.
Yeah,
you know. So I think this draft is very deep, and it's gonna be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, I've been this fucking guy McDaniel, man, the new head coach. He's been kind of. I'm starting to like him, man. Like.
Some at some images of him at the Heat game, actually video of him at the Heat game.
Yeah, he's been doing a bunch of interviews. He's a like you see him in interview. He's a really likable dude, man. And like people were comparing like some of the like the reports that came out of some of the players he talked to at the combine doing the interviews or whatever. And they were saying like how when Jeff Ireland was our GM, he's the one who asked Des Bryant about whether his mom was a prostitute, and then they were saying, "You didn't hear about that, Steve?"
I remember hearing it, but I didn't know it was the Dolphins.
Yeah,
and
I would have shitted on you a long time ago.
And then they were saying like how it came out that Flores said some bullshit to somebody again last year at the draft, and they were like, you know, the report that came out from one of the receivers that we interviewed, they were like, you know, what was McDaniel like? And he was like, oh man, he was asking me what kind of music I listened to. We were talking about like 90s hip hop and shit like that. You know what I mean? And so like the dude is like, you watch him in his interviews, man, he's super likable, man. But I'm trying not to get blinded by that shit. But I want fucking results. Like that's all I care about at this point. Results.
He's your head coach. He's your head coach, right?
Yeah, he's gonna be the head coach and he's calling plays. He said he's gonna call the offense.
Oh, Are you guys gonna have a coordinator or no? Or he's just gonna?
No, we have a coordinator, but he's
Okay, but he's gonna be play
he's a
calling.
Shanahan guy. So he
You
was
Why
the
do these
coordinator.
coaches never learn their fucking lesson? Like
You
it
guys gonna
always
have a
turns.
quarterback.
It always turns into them handing it off after controversy. Oh, yeah, well, I had so much going on. That's why we're doing bad. No, nigga, you stupid. You should have handed that shit off at the beginning. Like, you arrogant as shit to think you could go in and be a head coach and be the play caller. Like, that means you have to spend the bulk of your time with the offense. You can't spend much time as you should with the defense because you need to know who can make what plays, right? You got to script these plays. Sure, you're going to have the conversation with the coordinator, but if you're calling the plays, you got to know who's capable of what. So you can spend a lot of time at practice with these guys. You better have a solid defensive coordinator, like a super solid defensive coordinator.
Well,
I think that's what Andy Reid led.
He retained our coordinator from last year, so I think he's going to put a lot of trust on the defensive coordinator, and then we'll see what happens with him in the offense. But
yeah, I'm with Steve here. This, it doesn't always work well for these people. So
no, I agree.
These young arrogant bastards. I hope he does well.
I hope not.
I know, of course you do, but and the reason I hope he does well only is because he was hired in the midst of a lot of turmoil in the NFL around
daddy's black.
Right, the black coaching and the Flores thing and everything. So it's gonna be if he doesn't do well, it's gonna be a tough situation for that kid. But I hope he does well.
I hope the Dolphins don't win shit.
There was something else that I had seen. Let me get it pulled up real quick. Honorable mention, shout out to Snoop, got the rights, the ownership of Death Row Records, and all of the masters. So shout out to him there. Honorable mention. Draymond Green. I know we didn't really talk too much about All-Star Game Day. We talked about the Saturday night, but shout out to Draymond Green getting the deal with Turner Sports. He's an active player, and he was doing broadcasting, commentating on the side. That's different. That's that's breaking people into a different lane. So shout out to him on that, man.
Yeah, I mean, when you're an athlete, man, you're a business, so you gotta be looking for any opportunity. You know what I mean? Like you only make so much money for your playing time, and then after that, you gotta either you got to live off that money for the rest of your life, which it can be done. I'm not saying it's possible, but some of these guys live lifestyles where they can't sustain that. So you always got to look for another opportunity. So shout out to him, man.
Yep. I saw a thing that popped out the other day about Allen Iverson. They said that the deal he signed
Reebok
with Reebok was $800,000 a year. This was back in 2002, maybe. I think it was 02. Or 01 or 02. $800,000 a year until he turns 55, and then at 55 he gets a $32 million payout.
Mm-hmm.
Which is not bad. You're talking about 30. I mean, if he was it was a 102, 30 plus years of $800,000, about 24 million, 32 million at the end. I mean, I guess it's a way to not go broke, right? And if you take that 800 and you kind of sit it away and live off of other endorsements, lots of fucking interest that you can gain on it, man. Financially, I think it's not a horrible deal for 01. Right, we're thinking about, think about in 2022. It sounds like pennies compared to what these fucking athletes are getting in contracts and endorsements these days. But rewind 21 years ago. It's not a bad deal, man. Pretty smart guy.
It's not a bad deal at all. And you look at him, somebody like Bobby Bonilla, like that. It's just. It's just a smart thing to do, especially a player like AI, right? Because, even though we don't think it, but AI was considered to be controversial. And so you're not seeing AI out there and even in his post-career doing McDonald's commercials and Sprite and all that kind of shit like that. So a lot of the endorsements have dried up. but you still got this source of $1 million a year, and then when you turn 50 something years old, they're gonna drop 30 million on you. You know what I mean? So that was a super fucking smart deal. And to go to your Joe Budden point, I don't know if it was you or EJ that said it, like, oh, Budden looks at himself as like an executive now. He probably looked over this contract and was like, nah, y'all stupid, you know, whereas AI probably handed that shit off to somebody who knows what the fuck they're doing and was like, yeah, dude, this is fucking awesome. You're gonna make, you know, whoop, whoop, sign that shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it pays to have people in your corner who know what the fuck they're talking about.
Bobby Bonilla.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's smart too because Allen Iverson, and I'm sure somebody knew back then, like this guy, it's known that he's had money problems. Like he's a gambler, like Chuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so you can do all the damage you want, but at least you're gonna be all right when you hit, you know, X amount of age. You know, and as long as you can make it year to year, you'll have, you know, you'll be all right and get something.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that, you know,
hey man, Bubba Chuck from Bad News VA did pretty goddamn good. Kid from the projects was down and out, tried to lock him up in high school, you know, could have played football, could have did anything else. You know, Bubba Chuck did all right, man. Shout out to Bubba Chuck and Bad News VA.
I know, man. Listen, I flew into Bad News one time. Oh my goodness gracious, dog. Yo, and this was when I was younger. Like now that I'm older and I've been in Orlando for so long, like, and when I see hoods, like I'd be like, damn, that shit is fucking disgusting and dirty, and like how could anybody live here? You know what I'm saying? But back then I was from that kind of, you know, that kind of area. You know, I was from the fucking urban areas, as one would call. But when I flew into Bad News, dog, I was like, oh my gosh, there are worse places in fucking America than Bridgeport.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Bridgeport is nuts right now, man.
Yeah. But I mean, you do feel like that though, man. When I used to come home from the Marines, man, I used to be like, damn, man, I used to live here, like shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just seems different, man. Like when you get used to living like a
when
certain way.
you get older, you like, I'm beneath this shit. Take
Yeah.
me, you know, you forget you used to be running around in the street doing stupid shit. When you get old, you like, the fuck? Oh no,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah, right. Did you just? No, I can't spare $1.
Did you just pee outside?
Yo, I tell you, and I was up there last year. I think it was last year I went up there, and I was like, yo, I walked through this motherfucker feeling comfortable at one point. Like,
yo, Steve,
we was walking into an establishment, not to mention what kind it was, and as we were approaching, I was like, I gotta keep an eye out. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not good.
Are we safe here?
Yeah, I feel uncomfortable.
Yo, I had that same. Yo, I came home from the Marine one time, and my brother and them took me to this fucking it's like this, like a meet. It was like a meetup, like where just a bunch of people pull up in this area, and like people are playing music out their cars, walking around and shit. Like it was just outside. You know what I mean?
Spot, yeah.
And I was so fucking uncomfortable, and I kept like the whole time we was there, I was like, yo, how long are we gonna be here? And my brother was like, still done. Like, I don't feel comfortable here, man. And he's
this
like,
is a recipe for disaster.
I'm like, yo, I don't like. We need to go. Like this
No,
shit. I don't know. And then,
Yeah, there's too many black people around.
after we were there for like an hour, like it dawns on me, like, wait a minute, I fucking drove us here, and I was like, yo, I'm leaving. If y'all rolling, like, let's roll.
Hey yo, scumbag! I'm taking my ball and going home.
Right.
I
don't feel
so
safe.
fucking uncomfortable, yo.
Yeah,
Why are you Marine and everything in this bitch in his own hood? Like, hey dog, hey dog, it's get kind of late.
Yeah,
right.
Like it felt like I felt like I was literally like one Air Force One getting stepped on away from being shot, dog. Like, you know?
It bees like that, yo.
Facts.
I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, man.
You ain't lying.
Like, have you been to Iraq? Like, yeah, but
Right.
shit was different.
It wasn't as bad at this.
Oh Oh shit. Yo, that shit is funny. Holy cow. That is funny.
I think that's the end of my topic. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I think that's the end of my topic list. Let me see. Did you guys have anything else?
No, I was good, man. Unless you wanted to hit Brittany Griner to talk about it. I mean, I know
Ooh.
Nasty man. Nasty man. Yeah.
No.
Brittany Griner, yeah. I mean, hopefully they just, treat her well over there because
yeah,
she ain't coming home no time soon. And it's
I
sad.
agree.
She got caught up in this political storm.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, they got her on some vape cartridges, which is nuts.
it was like
I
vape
don't know if she
cartridges
was.
that had some kind of like CBD oil or some shit in it or something like that. They said.
I don't know. Was she playing basketball over there or something?
Yeah, she plays overseas in the WNBA offseason.
Yeah. So, I mean, hopefully, maybe the Russian owner she plays for can help out something. Hopefully, this thing doesn't get as big as because clearly she was over there cooling. So,
we know how this tends to turn out. This is how we end up in fucking conflict.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was arrested in Moscow airport last month. Vape cartridges were allegedly found in her luggage. Could carry a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So
and
yeah, I mean,
it's nothing is in her. She's got nothing, no balls in her court right now. Pause.
Yeah. And so
no pun intended.
So this happened.
Black, so.
Did this happen a month ago, or they just mean last month because it happened at the end of February?
I don't know. It seems recent, but we do know she's
I'm wondering
black.
if it's old, but we just found out about it.
We do know she's black, and she's black, so she really don't have anything in her favor over there. You know, and we know Biden ain't gonna do shit.
I'm surprised she's not known. It says she's been playing there in the off season every year since 2014. Right, we're talking about 8 years now. They're paying her $1 million a season.
It's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
She get more
U.S. or rules. The shit hit different.
Good point. Good point.
That shit's
especially if she got.
I mean, she can pay like $30,000.
Right, especially if she got student loans. Did she go to college?
Yeah, but I think she went for free.
Maybe the U.S. will cover those for her at least. Jeez.
I think Baylor paid her to play.
Yeah, that's tough, man. I mean, God, well wishes to her, dog, because that's what you don't want. Lock me up somewhere in anywhere else other than Russia right now.
Not the gulag,
it's certain places like Russia, North Korea, Mexico,
China.
You don't want to go jail in places like that.
Yeah,
like you want to be like in France,
Australia, England,
Switzerland or some shit like in places that get like I don't know if y'all remember that story when MBS Mohammed bin Salman, he's the crown prince in Saudi Arabia, when he arrested a bunch of his family members who were part of the royal family, and he had them he basically had them confined in suites at the Ritz-Carlton. And
lock me up, fuck that.
And Trevor Noah was like he could imagine MBS going in there and they're saying, "Man, why'd you lock me up, man? What the fuck?" And MBS is like, "You better shut up before I send your ass to Marriott."
Keep fucking around. You gonna go to the Motel 6? Man. Prayers to her, man. Hopefully, they can get that shit resolved, man. Because
hopefully,
I hope Putin ain't thinking this is a declaration of war of any kind. Number one, she's black. Number two, she's openly gay. So America ain't gonna do shit for her.
But you know what, though, man?
Shit for her.
Like speaking of that, and I hope that the government's doing whatever they got to do to get her and anybody else that's caught up in some Russian bullshit or whatever. But the fact that you're in Russia is a racist country, basically. Like Putin believes in that whole white greatness bullshit or whatever.
There
There's
you
no
Oh,
go.
so it's
black,
America.
there's no, but what I mean is like there's no black like politicians that are running anything in Russia that have any power or anything like that. In Russia, they're anti-gay, they're anti-drugs, all the stuff like that. So you're a black woman who is also a gay black woman, and I feel like in a place like Russia, you probably should have treaded carefully. And it sucks to say like, oh, I gotta watch myself. What I'm doing is 2022, yada yada yada. But you gotta also understand your environment. You gotta they say read the room. You know what I mean? And you can't be who you are in the United States and Russia.
Hashish.
And so
They're saying
yeah.
hashish. They contain hashish in the
right.
in the
And I
vapes.
mean, and you're rich. You know what I mean? Like, how much does a fucking vape with hashish cost? You could have threw that shit away in the hotel and just flew back with
and
that.
bought another
back to
one.
US.
Right. You got to make better decisions, man.
Right.
These people, dog.
But regardless, man, hopefully, something's being done to get the shit taken care of, especially now that it's gotten, national and international press.
Yeah. I mean, never mind. That's not a timely joke. All right. What else? We got anything else to speak about before we get out of here, man? Hope Brittany Griner gets home though.
Yeah. Nah, man. I think we're good.
All right. Good time. All right. Let me hand it off to the VP, like we do every week at this time, to get us up out of here.
Folks, we definitely appreciate everybody who joined us live on this episode of the Castworthy Podcast. We definitely appreciate you taking time out of your Sunday morning to rock with us. For those who will hear the episode when it posts later this week, we appreciate you taking that time as well. Wherever you're listening or watching the podcast, we hope that you can do us a favor and hit that like button. You could also comment, subscribe, follow, share, tell a friend to tell a friend, help us grow the audience. But hitting that like button definitely helps us out with the YouTube and whatever platform you're using's algorithm to help us reach more people. So if you could do that for us, we would appreciate it. You can find the podcast on all podcasting platforms. Just search Castworthy. You can also find us on any of our social media at Castworthy. On Instagram, it is at Castworthy_podcast. Again, we definitely appreciate you guys rocking with us. Like Steve said earlier, COVID is still happening, whether you believe it or not. So, wear a mask if you can, get vaccinated, get boosted, all that other good shit. And, take care of yourself, take care of your family, your loved ones. Like we've been saying the last, month or so, make that phone call. Don't wait to reach out to somebody to tell them you love them or you've been thinking about them or whatever. Go ahead and do that now. Don't delay it. And we will see you guys on the next episode of the podcast. We definitely appreciate you. As I said earlier, we out. We love you. Peace.